Breaking news! The United States has just detonated a second nuclear bomb in the Japanese city of Nagasaki. Does this mean the US has even more of these devastating devices? How will this affect the distribution of power across the globe? US officials refuse to respond to any questions being posed as to the specific number of nukes that they have, causing other nations, namely Great Britain and France, to ponder the new role in world politics.
11 years later.
Hello, and welcome to WAMK. My name is Marissa Khan, and today we'll be discussing the ongoing hostilities between Egypt and Israel. Here with us today is the leader of the Egyptian nation, Amal Abd al-Nasser?
Said it wrong.
Okay, Amal. Let's start by discussing Egypt's nationalization of the Suez Canal. What made you think you could just take it? I mean, it was British property being owned and built by them.
Well, it was built on our homeland, and since the British do not seem to care for their property anymore, we decided to take it and maintain it. For if we didn't, who else would?
This is my river. No, this is my canal.
I built it, so it's mine!
It's in my land.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Israel, maybe? I mean, they do maintain a close relationship with Britain in the West.
No, these people don't belong here in the first place, and would you entrust your property to a bunch of thieves?
But their land was given to them by the British.
But what about the people who originally lived in Palestine? They deserved the same rights for a homeland, but they weren't given them.
Okay, well, since you seem a little bit touchy on the subject, let's move on to another hot spot in the Middle East, Iran. What do you think of Iran and its ex-Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi?
He's a liar, a coward, and a butt kisser.
Don't you mean, never mind.
He appealed to the West, but failed to listen to his own people. I think he should be kicked out of Iran.
But his oil reserves were needed to aid the West in repelling communism. Are you saying that you approve of the Soviets, sir?
I don't approve of them or the West. I just want to govern my country to peace and prosperity.
You can certainly try, but there will always be a country that will resent you and cause trouble for you simply because of this prosperity you are striving for.
Let them come. We will crush them.
Okay, now our final topic, Afghanistan. What do you think of the war that rages on in that nation? Get it!
Books!
America!
I commend the Afghanis for protecting their nation, and I approve of U.S. support for them, but it's obvious they're trying to suck up to us.
So do you think this is a battle for Afghanistan, or is it really a battle against communism?
For the West, it's a battle against communism, because they don't care about the Afghani people.
But NATO is training the Afghans to protect themselves and is giving them arms and munitions in order to strengthen their armies. Do you not call this support for the people?
No, I call it being short-sighted and ignorant. It's obvious the West wants to fight communism, but will they continue to support the Afghanis after the war is over? And if they leave, what will that power vacuum do to the Afghanis?
Okay, well thank you for coming and thank you for your valuable insight into the problems that plague the Middle East. Hey, it's Marissa. I'm back with WAMK, and today, well now, we'll be discussing India and its position in the politics of the present. With me today is the famous Indian resistance leader and pacifist, Mohammed Gandhi. Hello, Gandhi.
Hello.
Shalom. Let's start by discussing India's relationship with Britain and how decolonization in that area occurred. Can you tell me why you aided the Indian revolutionists with their struggle against the British rule?
It started when I visited Britain and studied law in Western University. I was greatly influenced by Henry David Thoreau and his concept of passive resistance. I then believed that if India applied this method to its revolution, then it would ultimately succeed, for the British do not have the arms to fight us, and the United States, which is now the biggest world power, would not allow the British to use violence amidst peaceful protesting. After all, the U.S. was formed from a revolution against Britain itself.
So the revolution in India was aided by the powerful reputation of the United States?
Yes, it was, for both the American and Indian revolutions had very similar goals.
So how did the Indian Revolution succeed? For even though Britain was weakened after World War II, it is still a European power, and its military strength still greatly outweighs that of India.
Peaceful demonstrations always prevail. It is not ammunitions or weapons that we have to worry about, but it's capturing the hearts and minds of the people. And I'm happy to say that we have succeeded in that regard.
Now we head over to Aham, who's stationed in Algeria.
Today is July 3rd, 1962, the day of Algerian independence. Algeria has been through some pretty rough times leading up to this eventful day. Let's reminisce. Algeria has always been valued by the French. To date, hundreds of French settlers have made their home in Algeria. 20% of the population was of European descent. Difficulties started to arise around the time of May 1945, when there were many incidences of violence and out-of-control clashes in which the administration lost its legitimacy rapidly. This was the beginning of Algerian nationalism. In order to make things right, the French took steps to get back control, but their efforts were futile. The National Liberation Front was founded shortly after. Insurrections and civil wars broke out, and a series of guerrilla warfare was engaged. The French Republic did not want to let Algeria go, and they refused to yield and make any compromises. This led to a long war until 1962, in which the Algerians fought the French. However, it wasn't so clear-cut. People of the French Republic on the home front were split on this issue, as were some of the Muslims in Algeria. The French government was eventually paralyzed and lost control of its army, which caused Charles de Gaulle to initiate a retreat from Algeria once and for all. It certainly was not pretty, but it was done. Now on this day, Algerians finally had their independence. Although it's not a completely joyful day for all, many Muslims who are pro-French have fled to France in order to escape death. Now back to you, the studio. This is Aham Crace and WAMK, stationed in Algeria.
Thanks, Aham. That was fabulous. So, Ho Chi Minh, why the sudden urge to control Vietnam?
Sudden, the French have been occupying Indochina since the 19th century. Our nationalistic coalition, Viet Minh, and our announcement of independence were long overdue. Is this okay?
So, Ho, how did you feel about the United States intervening after y'all negotiated peace with France, which divided Nam at the 17th parallel?
What is this, therapy? The point of nationalism is to establish one nation, and that guy, Nguyen Dinh Diem, what a joke.
A joke?
I just want independence. This guy was not too popular. Anti-communist oppression and tyranny. And the U.S. even killed the guy they put into power. Who does that? The Viet Cong was the best thing that could have happened.
Who's the Viet Cong?
The military arm of the National Liberation Front, and an anti-colonial, nationalistic, and communistic group.
So I guess when the Americans gradually retreated from Vietnam, or also known as Vietnamization, occurred, you were pretty happy.
Why, yes, I was thrilled. Oh, we're finally done filming. Aham, but are you actually Muslim?
Yeah?
Oh.